Good morning, good morning. Football Sunday is here. Welcome to the North American Sports Report. I'm Billy D on this October 5th, seasonably warm, summerish day in New England. Before we get to the football, I want to quickly go over the baseball last night. And of course, the Yankees got pasted 10-1. Listen, Yankee fans, you just want to throw this one out. Yeel is your weakest starter. You'll be back with Fried today. I mean, the Jays listen, it was a game for 6 innings, and in typical Yankee fashion, they load the bases with nobody out and can only get across 1 run. It's 2-1, and then it falls apart from there. Yeel wasn't great. He didn't even last 3 innings. I think it was 2 1/3. It might have been 2 2/3. But he didn't even make it through the 3rd inning. And the bullpen wasn't stellar. Guerrero Jr. went nuts. That pretty much sums it. If you're a Yankee fan, you just throw that out. You win today with Fried on the mound, you're right back in the driver's seat with a pitching edge. The Dodgers came from 3-0 down in the 6th to defeat the Phils 5-3. Ohtani gets the win, 6 innings of 3-run ball. Tigers beat the Mariners in Seattle 3-2. Melton gets the win. The Brewers rout the Cubbies 9-3. That game was very unsuspenseful. Not much to see there. Just a blowout. So today's starting times for the baseball. The Yanks are 4:05. Fried on the mound for the Yanks. The Tigers are 6. What is that? Oh, well, we only got 2 today. Okay, so you got 4 o'clock, 4:05 Yanks Jays, and 8 o'clock, 8:05 Tigers at Mariners, Skubal at Castillo. Only 2 games today in the MLB pennant races. Well, pennant playoffs. Pennant races are over. We're deep into the nitty gritty now. So only 2 games today in the MLB playoffs. Seavage for the Jays against Fried. Skubal for the Tigers against Castillo for the Mariners. That's 8:03 first pitch to be exact. Okay, that's going to be it for the baseball. We got a lot of college football to cover. First, we want to touch on the college and the game of the day yesterday. Well, there were 2 games of the day that had a lot of eyes on them. Alabama beating Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is as good as they've been in forever. But you know what? This Ty Simpson for Alabama. The game was tight for a little while, but they pull away 30-14. This Ty Simpson for Alabama looks like an NFL quarterback, and he's gotten better and better every week. You got to be thrilled if you're a Crimson Tide fan. The other big game was the Miami Hurricanes defeat Florida State. And I make no secret here when I do this show. I try not to... I don't voice favorites when I cover these things. Most people know I'm actually a Dallas Cowboy fan, and I throw more hate on them than anybody. You'll never know, like, my baseball or hoops affiliate. I try to keep it out of there, but one team where I'm sure it's noticeable to you guys, where I wear my heart on my sleeve, is the Miami Hurricanes. I spent part of my life in South Florida. My parents had a home there. I've been all Cane since I was a kid. I'm always all about the University of Miami. It is what it is. I'm sure you guys probably know that already, but I will say this. Yesterday's game, the team hadn't played a road game. They go up into Doak Campbell in front of 90,000 with that all freaking night, and that's a hostile environment. Some people were wondering how Carson Beck would perform because some people don't realize that Carson Beck wasn't great on the road in Georgia. He didn't always perform well at Bama, at Florida. He had a great team, and he got away with it because they were just a stacked lineup, and they won anyway. So it kind of went unnoticed. But he wasn't always spectacular on the road if you look at his road numbers compared to his home numbers when he was at Georgia. So some people were like, well, Carson didn't look that good against Florida last week. How's he going to look today? Well, he looked excellent in this game, 20 of 27 for 244, 4 touchdowns, and they took the foot off the gas in the 4th quarter, which we'll get to later. And we also saw how good the Florida defense was. I told you guys that the Florida Gators had a top 10 defense. They were just having trouble figuring it out on offense. And didn't they go out and beat number 9 Texas and frustrate Arch Manning all day yesterday? Didn't they? 29-21, the Gators in the swamp beat number 9 Texas. And the Canes have played great other than Bethune-Cookman. 4 of the 5 Cane games have been tough. They've beaten a top 10 team in Notre Dame. They've beaten 2 top 20 teams. I'm going to tell you what, it's going to be interesting when the AP poll comes out this week because they're at least going to be 2. There might be an argument you can make a number 1 because I think their schedule's harder than Ohio State. Ohio State rolls with ease over Minnesota yesterday, 42-3. The Bill Belichick embarrassment continues in North Carolina as Clemson gets right, 38-10. Cincinnati upsets Ohio State, 38-30. That was a great game. Big win for Cincinnati. Iowa State was undefeated coming into that game. They're now 5-1. Nice win for Cincinnati at home. Illinois thumps Purdue 43-27. Pittsburgh thumps Boston College 48-7, which was one of my 2 picks. I gave out Pittsburgh and Michigan in a teaser, and then of course I lost the other one. I went 1-1 yesterday because I had Penn State in a teaser, and they lose to the worst team in college football, UCLA. Penn State is not going to see the playoff. They've lost 2 in a row. They came out of the gate slow. They gave up an opening touchdown, an onside kick. They're down 10-0 before the offense even gets on the field. Lots of mistakes. I said last week, Drew Allar is overrated. He is overrated. If he's an NFL quarterback, he's an NFL backup quarterback. He is overrated. They lose to 0-4 UCLA. That's it for the Nittany Lions. Georgia gets right, rolls over Kentucky 35-14. Baylor in a thriller beats Kansas State 35-34. Michigan, as I said, makes short work of Wisconsin 24-10. That's another guy, Bryce Underwood. He's very athletic, but he might be a little overrated. I'm not crazy about his accuracy. That pretty much covers all the big games. Great game by Air Force and Navy. Navy 34-31. They thought that game might be canceled because of the government shutdown, but it went on as scheduled. That's about it. That's all the big games. Did we miss anything? I think that's it, guys. Oh, Virginia goes in to Louisville, who was previously undefeated, and wins 30-27. Virginia's 24th ranked. They made that FSU game stick. I thought that Virginia might have a little bit of letdown after the big win over FSU last week, but they came ready. Syracuse is beaten by SMU at SMU 31-18. That's another game of note. Maryland blows a 20-0 lead and gets their first loss of the season and loses to Washington 24-20. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish looked strong, 28-7, and that wasn't even that close. CJ Carr's playing great, and he had a guy wide open that he just missed. He was wide open, would have been a walking touchdown. That game should have been more like 38-7, 42-7. But the Fighting Irish have gotten better and better since opening week. Nebraska beats Michigan State 38-7. Oklahoma in a get-right game thumps Kent State 44-0. Oh, another good game. Texas Tech, I think, is for real, kids. 11th ranked Texas Tech walks into Houston and beats the previously undefeated Cougars as Texas Tech came in at number 11 in the country. They are now 5-0, 35-11 over Houston. UNLV beats Wyoming. UNLV is undefeated, but their schedule's not that tough. 31-17. And Texas A&M continues to look strong, defeating Mississippi State. They came into the game 6th ranked in the country, 31-9. That is the full college week. Oh, wait a second. Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes whooped up on by TCU last night, 35-21. UCF gets beat by Kansas 27-20. We told you about Ohio State beating Minnesota 42-3. Memphis Tigers, my brother's alma mater, are undefeated. They defeat Tulsa 45-7. Fresno State over Nevada 20-17 late. And Duke beats Cal late 45-21. After a slow start, the Blue Devils have rebounded. All right, now we are going to get to the NFL. But you know what? One more thing on the Miami-Florida State game. That game was a blowout. It was 28-3 with 10 minutes left, and that was with a 50-yard touchdown pass, which would have been Malachi Tony's third of the game. He ended up having 7 for 107 and 2 touchdowns. That kid is 18 years old. He is one of the best wide receivers in the country. We know Smith in Ohio State is number one. He's going to be the top NFL pick. But this kid's 18 years old. He's a freshman, and he lit up the Seminoles yesterday. Like I said, he had a 50-yarder called back due to an illegal motion penalty. Him and C.J. Daniels had 2 touchdowns each on the receiving end. But I have to say, the Canes' fourth quarter was not good. The game was a blowout, 28-3 with 10 minutes to go. And then this is where Mario Cristobal makes you worry. Him and Shannon Dawson, their play calling was ridiculous. Obviously, they went to a little bit of a prevent defense, and Florida State scored with about 7.5 minutes left, and they went for 2. Now it's 28-11. Okay, no big deal. Get a couple first downs. They get the ball back, and they run the ball. And this is after Florida State onside kicks. Recover the onside kick. They run the ball 3 times into the line of scrimmage. 3 times. And they didn't even take their time doing it. They must have burned off 80 seconds and kicked the ball right back to Florida State. 3 runs right into the center of a stacked D-line that was expecting them to do just that. The total conservative, don't even try to get a first down. That burns them in the ass because Florida State comes back out. Now a gas defense gives up another touchdown, another 2-point conversion. And now it's 28-19 with 2.5 minutes left. Shouldn't have been that. They didn't even try to get a first. So another onside kick. Okay, we got the onside kick. Game's over. There's about 2.5 minutes left. Miami gets the needed first downs they need, you would think, to run the clock out. They got 1 first down. They're set up at the 21-yard line for an easy field goal. There's only a minute left. It's 4th and 8. I'm texting with a buddy of mine, and he's like, okay, yeah, we're going to kick the field goal, 31-19, game over. Mario and Dawson decide to throw the ball on 4th and 8. Throw the ball. Granted, the guy was wide open. Carson overthrew him. It would have been either a touchdown or a 1st and goal. But why are you throwing the ball? These are the things that make you nervous if you're a Miami fan. Because talent-wise, they're as good as any team in the country. But these questionable decisions, kind of like I remember 2 years ago where Mario failed to take a knee in the Georgia Tech game, and then we ended up fumbling and losing that game. Or against Syracuse last year, kicking a field goal when you need a touchdown and your defense can't stop a nosebleed. He makes these questionable calls. His time management is terrible. And I guess Dawson, the offensive coordinator, Shannon Dawson, gets some of the credit for that too. But just terrible. They actually made you nervous for a second because if they kick the field goal, the game's over 31-19. Instead, they leave a minute on the clock, and wouldn't you know it, with 23 seconds left, Florida State kicks a field goal. And now it's 30-22, and you got to bite your nails through another onside kick. Granted, listen, they had no timeouts left. This kid can't even reach the end zone, so they're not, Castellanos, that is, he's not throwing a Hail Mary into the end zone. But the game was a blowout. The game was a 28-3 blowout. You may look on the scoreboard as an interesting competitive game, and it wasn't. It wasn't. These are the things that make you nervous if you're a Miami fan about Mario. He's a great recruiter. The team practices hard, comes ready, but too many stupid penalties in that game. Every game now, it's like 9 or 10 penalties. They got to clean that up, especially in the fourth quarter. They got to clean that up. And he's got to make better judgment calls with the time management and situational. It has to. It boggles the mind sometimes with Mario. But you beat your arch rival, you take it. And you love it. And you love it. FS, whoo! Sorry, Seminoles. I do often talk to FSU fans. I do, but FSU graduates, that is. I do often talk to FSU graduates, but usually I'm asking for fries and a Coke. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to go there. All right, let's get to the NFL. Serious business here. We do have a game going on right now from London as Dylan Gabriel is making his first start for the Cleveland Browns, and the Browns are up on the Vikings 17-14. 17-14. And that game started at 9:30. That game is in the fourth quarter. 17-14 Cleveland. I have been on the air and I haven't seen that much of it. I did see the first half. It was 10-7. Gabriel had looked good. He was like 13 of 21 for like 108 yards in the first half. One touchdown, and he looked good, and they were moving the ball. At the beginning of the second half, Wentz, who had gotten banged up in the game, drove the Vikings right down the field. And then it was 14-10, and that's when I got off of that game because I had to go on the air. So 17-14 currently, Browns over the Vikings. All right, let's get to today's slate. Today's NFL slate. We have at 1 o'clock the Miami Dolphins at the Carolina Panthers. The Dolphins are currently a 1.5-point favorite. At 1 o'clock, we also have the Cowboys, who are a 1.5-point favorite at the Jets. The Cowboys are missing a ton of guys. They're missing a ton of guys in this game. Listen, we know they're missing CeeDee Lamb. They're missing 2 offensive linemen. That's going to be a problem. There's two out, and one is listed as doubtful, so they might even be missing 3 offensive linemen. But I think it's going to be 2 O-linemen and no CeeDee Lamb. That's going to be, listen, should the Cowboys win the game? Yeah, they should win the game. But would it surprise you if they lost? It's what they do. Rush Turner, why do the Miami Hurricanes have a duck for a mascot? It's not a duck, Rush. It's an ibis. It's a Florida bird. It's an ibis. And it's a badass ibis at that. That's funny. That is funny. Raiders at the Colts. Raiders are +7. Colts are a 7-point favorite at home. That's also 1 o'clock. Game of the day. Denver Broncos travel to Philly to play the Eagles. The Eagles are a -4.5-point choice. Jackson Dart will get his second start of the season. The Giants are at the Saints. Saints looking for their first win. -1.5. The Saints are favored. Jackson Dart, second start. Let's see how he looks. He looked good in the first one. Let's see if he can carry it over. I like that kid. I think he's got moxie and he's got all the skills. It'll be interesting to see him develop if you're a Giant fan. Texans at the Ravens. Another team that's the walking wounded. The Baltimore Ravens are actually underdogs at home. They will play Cooper Rush at quarterback. Their Roquan Smith is out. They have Van Noy out. They've got like 4 guys out on defense. One's out for the year. Idabuke, he's one of their tackles. He's one of he's out for the year. He got a neck injury. And now you got Cooper Rush at quarterback. Oh, man. Could the Ravens be 1-4? Texans have not been that stellar offensively, but they are a 2.5-point favorite at the Ravens. That's also 1 o'clock. Tennessee Titans. Thus far, has looked like the worst team in football. They've looked like the worst team in football. Cam Ward has struggled. Granted, he hasn't had much help, but last week, you really saw that he was struggling. He actually threw the ball well in the early games, just got no help. Dropped balls, penalties, but he actually looked like it was starting to get to him last week. He was frustrated in the post-game press conference, and he was 10 of 26 or 11 of 26, something like that. He played poorly, and it's starting to get to him. Hopefully they can turn it around. They are at the Cardinals. Cardinals are -7.5 at home over the Titans. Buccaneers, another team with numerous injuries. There'll be no Bucky Irvin and no Mike Evans. So down wide receiver 1 and running back 1 today. They're still a little banged up along the offensive line. It's a tough chore for them. They are at Seattle. Seattle is a 3.5-point favorite today. The Seahawks are a 3.5-point favorite. Lions travel to the Bengals. The Bengals, as you know, are stuck with Jake Browning as their starting quarterback. The Lions are a 10.5-point favorite on the road in Cincinnati. Okay. Another great game today. The Washington Commanders will get their quarterback, Jaden Daniels, back They are at LA, where I'm sure more than half the crowd will be Washington fans. They are at LA playing the Chargers, who are coming off a loss at Giant Stadium last week. The Chargers are -2.5. -2.5 favorite over the Commanders. The Commanders will again be without Terry McLaurin today at wide receiver. This game has got I think this is a very interesting, fun game. Patriots, the young New England Patriots with Drake May at the Bills. You want to be the man, you got to beat the man. Josh Allen is currently the man, especially in the AFC East. The Patriots, honestly, they should be 3-1. They blew that Steeler game that they were dominating where they had 5 turnovers, but they've looked good. They are an 8.5-point favorite. Now, an 8.5-point underdog. The Bills are -8.5. That's kind of large spread, but a lot of times a young team, they can be up and down. Just when you want to feel great about them, that's when they lay an egg, especially in a tough spot. I don't necessarily think that that's going to happen here. I do like the Bills in the game, but I hope that the Patriots can make this competitive and keep it interesting. I will definitely be rooting for the Patriots because I think they're a fun, exciting team. We all know that the Bills are my pick to go to the Super Bowl. But I want it to at least be a little interesting in the AFC East. As we know, the Dolphins and the Jets aren't going to make it interesting. So that's tonight, 8:20 kickoff. And Monday night's game is going to be the ever-improving Chiefs at the Jags, who are also much improved this year. The Chiefs are -3.5. The Jags are +3.5 at home. The Chiefs are getting healthier. They'll get Rashid Rice back in 2 more weeks. I got to be honest with you. I thought they would make a play for Tyreek Hill, but obviously that's not going to happen now that Hill is out with his injury. So I expect the Chiefs to try to make a trade deadline move and add another wide receiver because they got Worthy back. Xavier Worthy's back. And once they get Rice back, they got weapons again. They're already starting to look better. I may have threw dirt on the Chiefs a little too quick. Shame on me. I'm still not thinking that they're going to win the division, but they're definitely a playoff team. I'm going to go with my original pick. I had the Chargers finishing first in that division and winning that division, and I'm sticking with that. But the Chiefs are starting to get it together, so something to keep an eye on. All right, we're going to go to the pick segment. We went 1-1 in college. We're now 13-8-1 in college. Not so bad, but after a 12-5 start, the first 3 weeks, the last 2 weeks, we have gone 6-10, 18-15 on the season. So we've been in a little bit of a slump. I mean, listen, I lost games on field goals getting blocked, returned for touchdowns, and on Thursday night, if you thought that the Niners, without their top 3 wide receivers, their tight end, and their quarterback, were going in and beating the Rams, who basically fumbled that damn game away. You know what? You're a smarter person than me if you thought the Niners were. I know one guy that picked the Niners, and he'll remain nameless, but he definitely broke my stones about it. I know one guy. So 6-10 the last 2 weeks. We're going to see if we can turn it around a bit. We're going to see if we could turn it around. I'm going to give you one pick I like today, straight. I like the Chargers -2.5 over the Washington Commanders. I think that the Commanders will be better with Jaden Daniels back in there, even though Mariota played good. I mean, they still moved the ball even without McLaurin. But your first game back off a knee injury, maybe he's still getting a feel for it. Maybe he'll be a little less elusive, worrying about taking another pop on that knee. The Chargers are got to be stinging coming off a bad loss to the Giants. I would think they're going to be chomping at the bit. I got a 2-team teaser for you here. I have the Colts who are -7.5. I'm teasing Indy down to 1.5, and I'm teasing the Denver Broncos to +10.5 at Philly. So Denver +10.5, and Indy goes from -7.5 to -1.5 over the Raiders. So we've got the one straight pick. We got the one teaser. There was something else I was looking at here. There's nothing that really crazy love. But I got to give you more than 2 picks. I'm going to give, this is one I actually like. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks. And I do love me some Baker Mayfield, but they're walking into a tough spot today. They're banged up. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks minus the 3.5. And my last pick is also teasing Seattle, again with Denver. Seattle will go from minus 3.5 to plus 2.5. And again, Denver is at 10.5. Those are my 3 picks. Seattle, Denver teaser, Seattle straight, LA Chargers straight, and the Colts and Denver teased. Colts down to minus 1.5. Denver is obviously teased to plus 10.5 in both games. Those are my 4 picks for NFL Sunday. Once again, Chargers minus 2.5, Seattle minus 3.5, Indy Denver 2-team teaser, and Seattle Denver 2-team teaser. That's what we're going with today, kids. That's our 4 picks. Hopefully we can get back on the winning track. It's going to be an exciting NFL Sunday, as it usually is. So enjoy. Thanks for tuning in. You guys have been doing a great job. I've even been getting some Venmo Cash App donations to at Billy DiNapoli. Go to the Billy DiNapoli Cash App or Venmo to contribute to help me with all this technology I need here and keep things rolling. If you like the content and if you are making a little money, I know my college picks have been pretty hot. We started off hot in the NFL. We're going to try to get back on track. But again, I always advise you guys with the gambling, all things in moderation and for fun. Never chase your losses and never bet more than you could afford to lose. With that being said, I want you guys to all have a good day today. And we will see you. The show times have been a little erratic. I know I went on Saturday morning instead of Friday night. And honestly, guys, this is because my work schedule is pretty severe. For those of you that know me as during my other job as a musician, for those of you that know me down that walk of life, you'll know the reason why I haven't been involved in that is because my work schedule is just too intense. I run a number of various businesses, and I just don't really have time to focus on this. This I can do from my home studio here, and I love it so much. I have some people actually, I got some messages today, and some guys were getting on my case about Aaron Boone and my criticism of him, and what do you know, and what are your credentials? Well, hey, what are my credentials? I'm a sports fan. I love sports. Have I played sports? Yeah, I actually used to own a semi-professional hockey team in Connecticut, and I played on its minor league squad, and I coached it. And I did that I also coached Team Connecticut hockey, and I traveled all around the country for about 12 years. So I do have sports background. As well as just loving it, following it, being on top of it. I enjoy the wagering of it. I love it all. So, I do get a lot of messages and emails from people, and some people on the live feeds, they make comments, and most of them have been positive, but sometimes people tell me where to go and what do you know, and that's part of the gig too. And I don't claim to be an expert, but I do usually win more than I lose. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time. I'll post the show times. Like I said, my work schedule makes it a little unpredictable sometimes. I'm hoping to go on before Monday Night Football, and I usually want to go on before Thursday Night Football. I want to go on before Monday Night Football. I want to give you the college football show on Friday nights, but sometimes it might be Saturday morning, and we're always locked in 11:30, 11:45 a.m. on every Sunday morning. That will never change. You'll always get the update before I go on. We haven't been live on the YouTube channel the last couple of days because we have some audio difficulties. We got a bunch of new equipment here, and my technical analyst has been out of work for a couple of days, but she'll be back to fix things up. And the next time you see me, we'll be rolling live on that as well. But it still will be on the YouTube channel. It'll just be posted afterwards. But we'll get that straight. You know how to find us. North American Sports Report YouTube channel, North American Sports Report Facebook channel, and the Billy DiNapoli Facebook. You can follow us all here. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you soon. Have a great day. Enjoy the NFL and enjoy the MLB playoffs.